RiverSports.com, and today I have a special guest with me. First year GW head basketball coach, Demarcus Morrison. Coach, thanks for joining me, man.
Thank you for having me.
For those of you that don't know, and it does not really germane to the story, but Coach and I go back a long ways. When I first came back to Danville after college, I coached at GW and didn't coach basketball. We're not going to talk about that, but coached football at GW, and Demarcus was a multi-sport athlete there at GW back in the day. And you graduated in 96 from GW.
Yeah, 96.
All right. Well, we're going to get to in just a moment you taking over the head coaching job at GW. We were just talking beforehand. You are the first GW alum to become the head coach, head basketball coach at George Washington High School.
Yes.
Pretty big deal.
Yes, exciting too.
It is. So you graduated GW in 96.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your path like after that? What happened after graduation from GW? Where'd you go from there?
First year I went to, at the beginning I went to Virginia State.
Okay.
That was during the summer. Mom pulled me back to Avery. So I ended up starting my freshman year at Avery.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 years there. Graduated from there.
What'd you study at Avery?
Sociology.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so you graduated from Avery,
Mm-hmm.
played 4 years
Yep.
there. What'd you do after that?
I was working at Foot Locker the whole time I was at Avery.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, right before graduation, it's like 2 weeks or something like that, I got a call and I got my own store. So, yeah, so I was like really young, I was like 17. Started school at 17, so I graduated as maybe 21, 20, something like that. So I got my first store really early.
Yeah, right? Okay, wow,
Yeah.
that's young. But somewhere along the way, you made a transition into something completely different than like what you're doing right now. It's not, you're not selling shoes anymore.
No, I sold shoes. I was in the retail business. I ran shoe stores for 10 years. And then I had an event that happened in my personal life where my best friend passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And then it took me on a little spin where it really bothered my life. So I ended up going into being a counselor to try to help people with mental health issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what year was that roughly that you started doing that?
I would say about maybe 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And you've been doing that ever since for the
Yes.
last 11 years.
Yes.
That's great, man.
Yes.
I think all of us would agree. I mean, we just went through something significant in the Chatham community
Yes.
a short while back, and I know before we moved back to Danville, about the last 12 years, I've been working as a campus minister at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill.
Awesome.
And loved it, and but also saw how this generation is really struggling, in particular with mental health. And that was something that we walked out every day with students there on campus at Carolina. But so I'm thrilled that you're doing it. I really am. I mean that sincerely.
It's big and it's not going anywhere. That's going to be around probably forever.
Absolutely. So before we jump into what you're doing now as far as coaching is concerned, how did you get into coaching to begin with?
I actually started coaching when I was at Avery. We did AAU program. My sophomore year, I started helping out. My cousin was doing it, so I just helped out with that, and I liked it. I really liked it, and it just kept going and going and going and grew on me. And then I had my first son end of my junior year, so I wanted to coach him. So it just kept going from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So most people know that you're taking over the GW program, but for the last 3-4 years, really, you and I were talking beforehand, COVID was that first year at Tunstall,
Yes.
or not just at Tunstall, but everywhere. Things were weird, and you could only do so much. You were being really innovative. You were telling me with just like everybody had to have their own ball. You couldn't share. I mean, you guys all remember COVID. I'm not going to go back there. But in total, 4 years at Tunstall, you guys had a tremendous run during that stretch. I mean, I forgot what the number was on the last 3 years in terms of numbers of games won, but you made deep playoff runs as well. But very successful run there. And now you're moving over to GW. What, how did that opportunity come up in the first place? The job at GW, because I'm not familiar with how
Well,
that
they
came
had
to
an
be.
opening, and had some people in the community that were very interested in me applying for it, and possibly coming home.
Yeah,
And I went back and forth, back and forth. I was completely tormented. I think it just took my whole family through a torment.
because it's a great fan base out in Dry Fork as well, right? Just
Man,
tremendous
yes, I
backing out there.
absolutely love Tunstall. Every chance I get, I talk glowingly about them and the things they did. I had this saying when I was there, it's something about their red. So, yeah, so I try to praise them as much as possible.
Yeah.
And the leadership that they have.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you find out, or someone reaches out to you about the opening at GW. What was that process like? I mean, I mean, you're entrenched at Tunstall.
Yeah.
You guys are having great success there, but
Well, I'm dreading just thinking about it right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were 69 and 12 in 3 years at Tunstall, and I had great leadership. Lisa Totten is the principal there now. She's a former D1 athlete. Then I was surrounded with Dustin Eccles and Mark Austin and Ramsey Yates. It just had such a insulated support group around me.
great folks out there.
Yes.
Yep.
So the first thing was, I wanted to be respectful and let them know that I was considering it.
Yeah.
And I sat down and I talked to them. And at that time, it just wasn't something I thought I was going to do. Because Tunstall, we had it rolling.
Yeah.
We had it each year. We were going up. We just made it to the Final Four, and what I had coming back the next year would be this year. I felt like we could maybe win a state title. I really felt like that. So it was a really, really hard decision. I sat in with my family. I also have Kobe, which is my son. He was a sophomore at Tunstall, which that made it a huge part of the decision.
Yeah.
Also, because he would have to come with me. So just going on, it became a family decision that I went back and forth. I said I was going to take GW. Then 2 days later, I said, no, I'm going back to Tunstall. And then 3 days later, I was going back to GW. So it just went back and forth until finally, I sat down with the Lord, and he finally gave me an answer and
Yeah.
told me GW.
Okay.
Yep.
So you prayed over that thing.
Oh, man. I'm talking about praying, fasting, just crying. I'm emotional sitting right here just talking about it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to get too deep in this, but I would imagine that was tough for some folks in the area to have you make that transition over.
Yeah.
Hopefully that wasn't, I don't know, too harsh, too difficult, but I know it wasn't easy either.
Well, again, Tunstall has some great people.
Yeah.
Phenomenal people. Lovers of Christ also. So even though it was a difficult decision, it became one that I think they understood.
Yeah.
Some tears, some hugs. It was, a lot of heart. They didn't want to see it happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think they understood it was about the student athlete.
Yeah.
And we had done great works at Tunstall, and I think it's going to continue. What we did, I think, will continue. So now let's go over here to GW and see if we can do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that situation at GW a little bit. Obviously, whenever it's done, and I know all of you out there are like, hopefully it'd be done soon. The facilities are going through an amazing upgrade.
Yes.
Not even counting the pool they're going to be putting in. It's like $80 million worth of facility upgrades at the high school. But they are coming along pretty quickly now on the gym side of things and the Hall of Fame, all the things they're doing on that end of the property. But just looking at the basketball program, how would you describe where the program is at right now and some of the kids? Now you've had a chance to meet some of the kids and where everything sits at the moment.
Facility-wise, the facility is amazing. Our high school is going to look like a college. It's just that nice.
Yeah.
All the way around. You talked about the swimming pool coming, Olympic size swimming pool. That is amazing for a public school.
I don't know. In fact, I don't know any public high schools. I've heard of plenty of private high schools and maybe that have them, but not a public high school.
Goodness,
So,
it's phenomenal. Yeah. And
Yeah.
the gymnasium is huge.
It'll be at least double what the old gymnasium
A
held.
little bit more than double, from my understanding.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be awesome. And they have it laid out the outside. Big GW cutting the roof. Big GW, on the floor. It's exciting to even think about it, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You and I were talking about beforehand off camera that when you guys came through, like in the early mid-90s, you guys would have played in the parking lot if that's what it took.
Anywhere.
And now these kids are walking into this multi-million-dollar facility.
We would go to a dirt court in practice, a Taylor Drive or
Right.
something. But they have it nice. They should be very thankful for what they have.
Yeah. Is this a young group you're walking into at GW? Is it kind of a mix? Where would you see the ages, the grade breakdown?
Very, very, very young.
Very young. Okay.
I have two. I'm probably going to have. Of course, we haven't picked the team yet.
Right.
But I'm probably going to have two players that played last year that actually had playing time.
That at playing time. Okay.
That are going to be on the team. Then I think I have two that didn't play that much. So I'm basically coming in with all young guys. And when I mean young guys, I'm talking about 9th, 10th grade young men with no varsity experience.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the only good thing about that is I still have number 3 and number 2. And that's Kobe Morrison and Zay Cobbs coming from Tunstall to GW.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes, that obviously early on from a wins-losses perspective, that makes it more challenging, right? When you got a really young group.
Yeah.
But when you are trying to build out a program, having a young group also pays dividends over not necessarily this year, but the next year and the next year after that, because you get to mold them as well as the entirety of the team according to what you and your staff want to accomplish.
It's very, very hard when you have a young team. But like you said, you get to mold them the way you want to mold them. So,
Right.
I get to come in and it's not a lot of old stuff that I got to get rid of. It's a lot easier. And this is what I tell all of my young coaches. It's about creating the atmosphere.
Yeah.
About creating a culture. So although we're really, really young, probably about mid-season, I think we're going to start hitting our stride. And I think we're going to surprise some people this year.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Now, I know that I've seen some things online that you already preseason-wise are lining up to create some challenges for your kids, to start defining some characteristics about the way their mentality and their identity early by the competition level that you're playing. As you guys, if you look, we're mid-October right now, so as you look forward to the beginning of the season, what's your schedule? What you got scheduled in there? What's that look like?
Well, we really beefed up the schedule. It's like night and day from what we're used to. We start off the year adding Dudley, and then Dudley was our rival way back.
Yeah.
We stopped that rivalry after the incident happened, but Dudley is a phenomenal young team coming up. They're returning 4 of their 5 starters, and they go 10 deep.
Wow.
So it's going to be a really good test at the beginning. We also added in the Hartman Classic. That's up at Floyd County. We're going to be playing Spotswood, which Spotswood has made the states the last 4 years in a row.
Okay.
And they have the reigning state player of the year in Division III.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we also.
Is that regular season or preseason?
This is all regular season.
That's all regular season stuff.
All regular season.
Okay.
We got more. We got
All right,
more.
come on. What else you got going on?
We are going down to the Virginia Preps. That's in Virginia Beach. Last year we played Oscar Smith, and that when I was at Tunstall, they were 6A.
All right.
So I'm expecting. We got to be announced by that right now because they haven't set the schedule.
Okay.
But I'm expecting another Virginia Beach, Southside Virginia battle there.
Okay.
Then, of course, we got the Harry Johnson shootout, which has like Hargrave and all those big schools in it.
Yeah.
And finally, we get to the game with Tunstall. So everybody's going to be waiting on that. I know that's going to be a big one too. So
Yeah, it will be.
Schedule. Yep.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, that's good. Well, I mean, man, you're not right off the bat. You're not shying away from competition.
Oh no, I feel like that struggle is what build character.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, especially this generation, they're not like back when our generation. They kind of want to be on teams. The best players be on teams, and best teams avoid each other. And I'm just not like that. I want to go straight at it. You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you look at this young group that you've got, and you're setting up a really tough schedule for them,
Yep.
what are your expectations for them? What are some of the goals that you guys have for this year?
Oh well, I'm honest about where we are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, Eagle excellence is Eagle excellence. You know, that was something that was established by my mentors, and they gave the whole lifetime. Harry Johnson, Chris Carter, Abba Logan, you know, they set that up. So that's something that I'm not creating. That's something that's already part of.
Yeah.
You know, what it is just these young guys got to understand what it means.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting that they're gonna understand that. They're gonna step into it. So I'm
Yeah.
expecting real good things. It's just got to give us a little bit of time to get it going.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to roll good.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, big shoes to fill,
Oh, humongous.
right? When you look at the program historically,
Yes.
you mentioned Harry Johnson, of course, and the legacy that he left there at GW. And I'd like to harken back. Phenomenal human being, too, by the way.
Yes.
Tremendous amount. I just loved Harry. Bobby Martin had been there at a time too. Another just high character person as well as great basketball coach. You mentioned Chris Carter and others as well. I'm hoping that the people give you time to kind of build this thing out with those expectations that, hey, the goal is to get back to states and try to win a state championship. Which I guess is, that's good, right? It's better than stepping into a situation where people are like, well, if we win the Piedmont District, that's a pretty good year kind of thing. You know, you got much higher expectations, I think, from the fan base.
Yeah, and I think it should be. I think GW is about collecting championships.
Yeah.
You know, and I think each year that's what we're going to be about. And even from the beginning, it's about collecting championships. And I think we can.
Yeah.
You know, I think it is, and I tell people it's very similar to when I started at Tunstall. You know, I had a very young base, but it played into my strengths, and that was development, and then having a system that put them in place to succeed is what, you know, the Lord has blessed me to be pretty good at.
Yeah.
So
That's good. That's good. Some guys just come in looking for the W's, but the development side's huge for these guys. And I think that coupled with not just your basketball knowledge and capabilities, but coupled with your vocational prowess when it comes to mental health and all these things, building up the whole student athlete, man, that's what it's really all about.
And I tell people it's about the student athlete and it's about the community.
Yeah.
Back when I played, Coach Johnson used to tell us that the youth in the community followed the basketball team. So that's what I've brought back with me and letting them know the basketball team will lead the student body, you know, in the way we behave in our academics and the way we're seen in the public, because I want the outside youth to be able to look in. You know, you come to the games and you go home and you get little kids running around saying, I want to be Zay Cobbs, I want to be Kobe Morrison. So the student athlete needs to understand the importance of, you know, their value to the community.
Right.
And I think they do so far.
Yeah.
And we already got going. We've already, you know, what I've done during the season with that schedule, I did this summer through our AAU program, Team of More.
Yeah.
We played some high-level private prep schools all summer. And it wasn't easy. I mean, we got beat up a little bit. So.
Well, that's what it takes, though, right?
Yeah.
You want to beat the best, you got to play the best, and it will shape you one way or the other for sure.
Definitely.
Well, Coach, I want to say thanks for taking time out, and I know you guys are stepping right now into the busy time as you get ready, and probably waiting on a few football players to come out too. I'm sure Coach Anderson probably doesn't want any of those guys released just yet. He would like to make a deep run as well.
And I hope he do.
Yeah.
I hope he do. I think they have done a phenomenal job this year. Coach Anderson always does a phenomenal job. He was here the first time I was at GW. So I've known him. I think I'm predicting we have maybe 8 football players play basketball.
Okay.
So that's over half the team.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So we're going to get a late start, but that's why I said about halfway through the season, we're going to hit our stride. And I think we're going to show what we're going to become.
That's really good.
Yep.
Well, hey, I want to wish you all the best, man. Absolutely. That the program lives up to all the expectations and then some.
God willing. Yeah.
And that you and the kids get settled in real quick, man, sooner rather than later. Hey, folks, this is first-year GW head coach Demarcus Morrison taking over a GW program with high expectations and a young group, but a talented group at the same time. Make sure you get on over to GW as soon as that thing is opened up and root these guys on and follow them on social media and everywhere else you can so you can stay up to date. We'll also be covering them throughout the season. As we get a little bit closer to the start of basketball season, we'll go around to all the area schools and do previews and talk to the athletes as they get ready and get geared up for this basketball season. It's going to be a fun one, and we look forward to seeing you guys out there. Thanks for joining us.